If you followed my lessons on modes, you'll know that each mode consists of the same 7 notes as its parent scale. For example, all the modes of C major use the same 7 notes. So this raises the question of what creates each mode's distinctive sound. The best way to hear and train your ear to this distinction is to form harmonies and melodies for each mode around the same root. We might refer to this as playing modes in parallel. The method we're going to explore in this lesson involves us using the open 5th string, A in standard tuning. So A will become the root and key center for each mode we play. Modal music has both a harmonic and melodic element. In this lesson, our main focus is on harmony, as this can be used to create practice tracks and train your ear to identify when you can solo using a particular mode as your foundation. Starting with the major scale, sometimes called Ionian, technically the 1st mode. With the root on A, we can build a simple Ionian pattern as follows. Now you'll notice within this pattern we can form a bar chord shape on that root of A major chord to be precise, since we have a root, major 3rd and 5th making up a major triad. This becomes the tonic or 1 chord of the mode. But for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to cut that bar shape down to just the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, leaving the 1st and 5th strings open. Since the open 1st string is the note E, and the open 5th string is A, as we've established, these 2 notes are compatible with our A major chord. As we now have the tonic chord of the mode we're playing, you could simply practice your Ionian phrasing over that single chord, something I always recommend starting with. But we can also explore how this mode creates compatible movements of harmony from its intervals. To do this, we're first going to move each tone in the shape up the neck to its next degree. This allows us to create another shape compatible with Ionian. We now have a second shape that harmonizes with Ionian. Try moving between the 2 shapes we have. You may notice that just as we cut down the bar chord for the 1st chord shape, so too can the 2nd shape be seen as part of a bar chord, a B minor bar chord this time. We can call this the 2 chord of A major. Keep these bar chord shapes in mind as you explore the patterns, as they'll tell you which specific chords make up each mode. Continuing, let's extend the pattern to the 3rd position on the same 3 strings. Again, move up each string by 1 degree. We now have a shape based on the mode's 3 chord. As you can see, the major 7th of the mode is voiced in this shape, one of Ionian's defining tones. If we play between these 3 shapes we've built, we get a movement of harmony typical of Ionian. You could think of this as part of the harmonic or chordal flavour of this particular mode. And we can hear how an Ionian solo harmonizes with this movement, because we've used notes from that same mode to build the harmony part. We can continue this process further, each time moving the notes in the pattern up by 1 degree to form the next shape. We can also move down from the tonic position using the same method, ending conveniently on the open A major shape. Don't just play these movements in sequence, try different combinations to help further internalize this harmonic system. What we now essentially have is a roadmap for harmonizing Ionian. We can use this to record backing tracks or even write parts for a song, but playing through these changes also trains your ear to the mode's flavour. You'll find yourself hearing these movements in songs and therefore know which mode to use as the melodic base of your solo. Now we have the roadmap, we can try other shapes within the pattern that harmonise the mode. For example, let's try another mode, Dorian. As it's a minor mode, Dorian's tonic or 1 chord is minor, so let's start with a minor bar chord on A and cut it down to those 3 middle strings. Like before, extend the pattern up the neck, each tone by 1 degree, to get Dorian's 2 chord, another minor chord. So one way of identifying Dorian is 2 minor chords a whole step apart. We can use exactly the same process we did for Ionian, giving us a roadmap to explore the harmony of this particular mode. You can find the full patterns for each mode on the lesson page, but here we have a harmonization of the Dorian mode that we can use for practice and ear training. Onto the third mode, Phrygian. Like Dorian, Phrygian's tonic chord is minor, so no change from Dorian. The change comes when we move to its next position based on Phrygian's intervals. Now we get a taste of that flamenco Phrygian flavour created by the minor second interval 1/2 step up from the root. Fourth mode Lydian is a major mode like Ionian, but sounds quite different from Ionian due to its augmented 4th interval. This is simply the 4th of Ionian raised by 1 fret. As we can see from its first 2 shapes, this augmented 4th creates 2 major chords a whole step or 2 frets apart, the second one touching on that mysterious sounding augmented 4th. This is a very common Lydian bass movement you'll hear in music. Let's hear some more of Lydian using our full A roadmap. Fifth mode Mixolydian is, again, a major mode and similar to Ionian, but sounds different due to its flat 7 interval. Simply lower the 7 of Ionian to get Mixolydian, but like Ionian and Lydian, its tonic chord is major. Remember how Lydian was characterized by 2 major chords a whole step apart? Well, Mixolydian also creates this relationship, but down from the tonic instead of up. This is because of how the flat 7 falls in the sequence, a typical Mixolydian movement. Let's hear what else Mixolydian's pattern produces in the way of harmony. Sixth mode Aeolian, also known as the natural minor scale, has its own harmonized sound. Aeolian's tonic chord is minor, so it shares similarities with the other minor modes Dorian and Phrygian, but Aeolian's minor sixth interval distinguishes it from Dorian, whereas its major second distinguishes it from Phrygian. Let's use Aeolian's pattern to hear how it harmonizes. There is, of course, a seventh mode called Locrian, but due to the unresolved nature of its tonic, a diminished chord, it's rarely used as a harmonic system. What we've essentially done here is harmonize the modes of the major scale in parallel, that is, on the same root. By exploring modes in this way, we can really hear the different musical flavours each mode offers. Each mode's sound can be thought of as characterized by specific intervals, played both together, as chords for example, or as single note melody lines, such as a solo. Whether intentionally or not, a lot of music you'll hear is based around one of these modes, or a combination. As the harmonic movements we've covered can be used as backing tracks, I've provided 5-minute harmonized tracks for each mode on the lesson page, which you can use to practice your solos and further internalize this ear training. Cheers.